Hey everybody, you are listening to What Are You Doing in Denmark, the podcast that helps you make Denmark make sense. My name is Derek Hartman, and I've been living in Denmark since 2017.
I'm Annie Samples. I've lived in Copenhagen since 2019.
And I'm Briana Lykkegard. I've also been living here since 2016.
A lot of people think that we're the same person. Yeah. So
we are.
Yeah, because they've never seen you in the same room, but I can vouch that you are different people.
Don't be confused. We are different people. We moved here at the same time, but we're different people.
And today we are very excited to talk to you about the news and welcome if you are listening for the first time and you found us through Copenhagen Post, because we are so excited that now you'll be able to listen to us even more easily if you are a subscriber to the Copenhagen Post. And if you've been with us the whole time, don't forget to check out the Copenhagen Post and we'll give you a little taste of the news today. So one thing that has been going on and has been a big one in the news lately is Greenland. We don't have to get into all of the gross reasons why.
So gross.
Yeah.
What a weirdo.
But some interesting polling, and it's also interesting because Mette Frederiksen, the Prime Minister of Denmark, doesn't typically quote polls, but she made an important distinction to mention that most Greenlanders did not favor any kind of connection or succession to join the United States. But in particular, in that same poll, it also showed that most Greenlanders are actually supporting independence. 56%, while 28% opposed it. 45% would only want independence for Greenland if it doesn't lower their living standards, because of course, Denmark currently provides about 6 billion kroner of annual support to Greenland's public finances.
Yeah, so we're talking independence from Denmark.
Independence from Denmark.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And I think like one thing sort of lost in the shuffle, because obviously it was handled with the delicate eloquence of the current president of the United States. But one thing that was kind of lost in that or overshadowed by his bluster maybe is the fact that in the New Year's address from the Prime Minister of Greenland, he hinted at a referendum for independence. So that was perhaps where some of that came from, but of course it was not necessarily handled with diplomacy and tact.
True.
Shocking.
Okay, so what is it? Sorry, can you say again what it is that Denmark provides for Greenland?
Yeah, so about 6 billion kroner annually to their public finances. And I could be wrong, but I believe it's about 20% or to like a quarter of their annual budget. So there is a lot of financial support from Denmark for Greenland.
I can see Denmark being like, let's help you get your own finances up and go your own way. You know, it seems right. I think us as white people have done enough colonizing.
Right.
So I think if there is that opportunity to give them their independence, that would be very wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that's what they want.
If that's what they want.
I kind of agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Like it's a delicate situation, right? Because it is all rooted in colonialism, which I don't think anybody in the modern era is going to defend.
No, well,
But,
some people.
Well, some people, maybe.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
It's kind of the other side of it is, of course, like the ability to be, to go from, because right now Greenland is an autonomous region or like an autonomous territory within the Danish realm, but where it goes from there, I think ultimately the idea is that, yes, it would be an independent, sovereign nation.
Wow.
But how that's handled is, got to be done with
of course,
the delicacy that.
That's a tricky situation. And I just hope it works out favorably for them. They deserve it.
Yeah. And let's move on from the uncomfortable nature of three Americans discussing the topic of Greenland. But hopefully that was the best American discussion of
Very
Greenland we
diplomatic.
could get,
Beautiful.
compared to the recent ones. But on to something even worse. So,
You're so silly.
yeah. So, Danish schools have been receiving like threatening emails.
That's so American.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, not here.
Are they in English
No.
or in Danish?
Yeah, right?
It must be. Is it all the
Suss them
American
out.
children?
Yeah.
Wait, what are they saying?
Yeah, so some of them have been including bomb threats. But
Really?
Yeah. And some schools have even been evacuated. So there's been 51 schools that have been targeted.
In Copenhagen, what region are we talking?
So this is all over. So this is in Sjælland, Fyn, and in Jylland. And the sender is unknown, and like no immediate danger has been identified, but there have been 51 schools that have been threatened, at least 28 different threats. Some have been evacuated as a precaution.
Well, what's going on with cybersecurity there? Because it is 2025 and you guys can't track an email address?
I don't know.
What's
I mean,
up
at
with
least
Is it the same person emailing each time?
we don't know. Maybe it's some like Nigerian prince that needs your bank account
Okay.
and is selling you crypto.
Are they
so you can
Facebook
get-
messaging them? Facebook messaging the schools. I
No
know
idea.
it. Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah, so it's apparently a little more than like a Finsta account, but a bit more. I mean, it's obviously being taken seriously.
As it should, of course.
You know, if kids are being evacuated.
But no weapons, no bombs have been
Nothing
Yeah.
has
unearthed.
happened.
Yeah. From what we know, it is something that they've taken seriously. The East Ulan police are in charge of the investigation. I'm not sure if that's because that was one of the first schools or one of the first areas that was targeted by this. But kind of scary.
28
But-
threats. Who has the time
At
for all of
least,
that?
yeah, right.
They must not have children.
Mm-mm.
Whoever's
Yeah.
threatening.
Ironically,
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
They wouldn't have the time.
Absolutely not. God, I can hardly send an email.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, all of the communication with schools as parents has to
Oh my God,
be
it's
intense.
horrible. I know. Like this is making
And
me
those
think of like
apps.
there's
those
different. I have
outlets.
two different apps.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
Two different apps, but I'm also in 3 different WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine people just constantly asking you about things every single day.
Yeah. I can't even
And you have to
respond
keep
those
up
messages.
which class is which. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine sending 28 threats on top of everything
top
we
of
do
all
as
of those
parents.
apps.
Couldn't
Oh.
be
I
me.
mean,
It's wrong to joke about, but also when you put it in that perspective, like, who would have
Who's
the
doing
time?
it? I think they should
just
hire
looked at our next topic. No, they should
No.
hire what?
us as investigators.
Slay.
So already, right, we know it's not a mom.
Not a
She
mom.
doesn't have the time.
Yeah. The profile of this person is,
It's giving 12-year-old.
Yeah.
ooh, do you
I
think
think
like
you're-
the call is, the emails are coming from the house?
Yes,
Like it's the
I
student?
know.
Probably.
It is.
Wow.
Crime solved.
Were you guys ever evacuated from school for like
Yes.
a bomb threat like
Yeah.
that?
I
Fun times.
don't remember.
I remember once, like I believe I was in 2nd grade. I was evacuated. We had to go and walk like a safe distance
Yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah. You're like,
Oh,
this
yes,
is
of
real.
course. Yeah.
You're like,
I
a
think it
bomb will
happens
go
so
off
much,
in this
so
school.
often
It's
that I
so real in your
forgot.
mind.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, of
But you know
course.
what? I'll
My
take
2nd grade mind was
Oh,
not having
this
it.
is it. This is over.
Yeah.
I would take a bomb threat, a bomb threat evacuation any day over a active shooter drill. Am I
Agreed.
right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
town.
if you're going to have to choose, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can't even go there.
Yeah.
That's so spooky.
That's why we're here. And
Yeah.
not there.
That is why we're here. That's yeah. But I just got really excited looking at this next topic that we're supposed to talk about with the call for reduced car dependency.
We love this one.
I want to abolish cars in Copenhagen.
Every single one of them.
It's so silly. Go park somewhere else. Go drive your car somewhere else.
Right
I
outside of the
totally
city.
understand that cars are necessary for many things, but they're not necessary in a city where we have the best public transportation and bikes possible. Get out of here. And then you're getting in my way and you're making me worried for my kids' safety. I'm worried for my safety. I'm worried for other people's safety. And it's a pollution. We don't need that.
we don't
Yeah.
need it.
No?
Done.
So
Well said.
I have heard, thank you so much. I have heard that by like 2035 or something, they want Copenhagen to be a car-free.
Wow.
I'm completely talking out of my ass right now, but
Well, I know that they're
I've
moving
heard
electric.
these things. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they're definitely moving towards electric vehicles only.
Okay.
right.
And that's good, at least for
Yeah.
the pollution aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I don't know. This probably is horrible, but I think only people in Copenhagen who should have like motorized vehicles of any type should have they should have like maybe like mobility issues.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
sure, I get
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You-
Because-
Otherwise, get on those 2 feet, girl.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I envision this like utopian society, and then here's Copenhagen, and all around it are these parking garages.
Yes.
And then
Ooh.
you may park your car
Take a
in
train
a
in.
designated parking garage, but not in the city.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially
Just like bordering the city.
or like at least shut down certain streets from cars during certain hours. Like, do you
Just-
know like Norfrey Hounsgeld during the pickup? Hello?
no car. No cars.
There doesn't
no
need to be a
cars.
single car going up and down there, and I get so mad every single time.
No, I'll tell you which one.
Okay.
Vandam, is it?
Vanadam's right?
Yes.
100%. Also, the street, there's a street right by my house that has 1 million kindergartens on it. Literally, the whole
Oh,
entire street is
of
kindergartens
course.
and Vogus Jew. It will be like 2 to 4 p.m. and I will see cars going up and down this street. What are you doing?
Wait,
Go
that
another
could
way.
be the rule. If there's a Vogastu within a certain amount,
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
You
no
can't
cars.
see those little people over the. It's not
It's
good.
scary.
It's
It is. Also, I feel like
recipe for disaster.
I don't drive anymore, but for the first 2 years that we lived here, we had we did have a car, and I also no disrespect because I understand if you live farther out, you need a car,
Absolutely,
and if you're commuting in, like totally respect that.
Have
I'm
a
not
summer house, have family outside. Totally get it.
Yeah, but I mean it's intense and it's hard. I was never used to driving as much as I drove in the U.S. I was never used to driving around that many bikes, and when people are cycling, it's really tough. I was always afraid that I was not seeing somebody, blind spots on blind spots. Plus, people just go so fast on bikes. I was so nervous. So it would be good for everybody. I do not mind it. They're looking at introducing road pricing, making it more expensive to drive on certain roads, would then give them the ability to invest more in public transportation and then have more people shift into commuting away from cars and through public transport, which I don't know.
I don't know if that's like a good means to an end. I think parking garage idea.
You want to abolish all cars.
Abolish cars.
Well, it's funny too. Like I go down these like rabbit holes. I'd love to do an episode on it. But when they first introduced in Copenhagen, I think most people know of Slol, the pedestrian street. It's like one of the, I think the longest or second largest pedestrian streets in the world.
Yeah.
When they first introduced it, I want to say this was in like the 60s. This was part of the rebuilding of the city and the investment in the center of the city after World War II. Even though there wasn't a lot of damage in Copenhagen, they used funds to kind of modernize and part of that was pedestrianizing that street. The store owners were livid. They thought that they would lose traffic and that it would bring down like the value of them having storefronts in like Amateur. Like think of like, this is where you have like Prada, Louis Vuitton, Royal Copenhagen. You have like some of the most expensive luxury shops in the city because, surprise, that's not what happened. More people went downtown. More people, were shopping there. And it just shows you that like, if you give it a shot, things usually work out.
Wait, let's just try it out.
Let's just try it. Why was this previously controversial?
Yeah, so they considered doing it before and it was withdrawn back in 2011. I guess they'd done some analysis and I think part of it is just people didn't want to pay more to be driving. They're already taxed a lot on automobiles and
so don't have one.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. Well, I guess like if you think about it, it could be a little bit controversial because if you don't live in the city itself, you really do need a car to get around. Public transportation isn't as accessible or as frequent in some areas. So maybe they felt like it was a little bit like an extra burden financially on the people who didn't live in Copenhagen. And there's always that struggle between Copenhagen and those who don't live in the capital. So I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
That makes sense.
When I say abolish cars, I do mean specifically from Copenhagen. I understand that.
We mean specifically your car. Whoever's listening.
I'm going to come over
if you're in a car right now, pull over.
Pull over, run away, abandon it, set it on fire.
Leave the keys on the hood. We'll be there shortly.
Yeah. We will come collect all cars after this episode.
Cool. Next, you see us opening like a used car sales lot.
The parking garage.
Sustainable.
There you go.
We're taking your car and we're building light rail with it.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So, okay.
Not a bad idea.
Okay, what else do we have here?
This one is interesting. And I know, Annie, like you've talked about this with a similar program in Copenhagen. You've been tapped to give some comments on it, so I'm super curious what you think. But Aarhus is seeking to attract more international workers. And it's estimated that the amount of internationals working in Aarhus has already doubled since 2014. There's currently about 17,000 internationals working in Aarhus. And the city is trying to increase that. They're looking for an additional at least 1,500 per year, starting now to the year 2030. So about 7,500 additional to bring that number up. Part of this is just because of like things that we know. There's some labor shortages in Denmark, and there's an increased reliance on international workers. Aarhus does not attract as many international workers as Copenhagen, which makes sense. It's it's Denmark's second city. It's a little bit smaller. And Copenhagen has been sort of in the game of doing this for many years as far as, fielding and helping to settle those who are coming here from abroad. So Aarhus is trying to capitalize on that as well. I think in some ways it makes sense. It's a bit less expensive compared to Copenhagen, and there is even if it's a smaller community, an international community there already. Yeah. But they're looking at some of the issues. And I know you've talked about some of the issues that people face. And
Yeah, definitely talked. First of all, I want to take this headline and just copy and paste it to every comment ever that's like, go back to your country. We don't want you here.
Right.
That is objectively false.
Like, you need us here, by the way.
Yeah, which is such
We're
an
here
honor.
to help.
Yeah. We're here to help. And we love to be here, and we're so thankful to be here. There could definitely be some challenges when relocating to Aarhus, especially from places like the U.S. or maybe like bigger, more metropolitan cities. Like you said, there is like a smaller international community, and I actually haven't been. I've heard it's incredible, but it would be so nice if there were resources like we provide at La Femme, like relocation services, a more holistic approach. And I'm super curious what the job market is. Like, what is the industry in need of?
Or some major companies in Aarhus.
Yeah, the companies that are there have acknowledged that they're basically just looking for more workers with international qualifications. So those who would have maybe advanced degrees, think STEM, engineering, those sorts of things, that would not necessarily be as easy to recruit from within Denmark itself. But it's also interesting, some of the reports are showing that it's not just that, but it's also in other industries not requiring you to have an advanced degree. So industries like retail or hospitality,
food.
Food. So things that there's just not enough people as the economy is growing in Denmark. There's not enough people, native Danes, I guess, to fill some of those roles as well. So it's a good thing that the economy is growing. It's partially fueled though by internationals moving here, and to continue that, Aarhus wants kind of a piece of that.
That's really cool. I think some integration tools are going to be super necessary, and we get a lot of support from the government for language classes, but they're not, sometimes they're hard to access, especially if you come over here with little kids or whatever it is, or you come and you are full-time employed. Like that's really tricky. So I think maybe like a meeting of somehow more support in language services, as well as maybe a little bit more understanding and effort from native Danes as well when it comes to people trying to speak Danish or people who are on their way to speak Danish. It's going to be a joint effort in that way.
I think we need a La Femme event in Aarhus so we can understand what's happening.
I know, I want to go suss it out.
Should we?
Yeah, let's go.
Or maybe like a weekend there.
Ooh, girls' weekend.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't know, like Annie and Briana have a wonderful platform and program where they plan events that can help women that are not just here from abroad, but some that are here traveling, or even some Danes as well, that join up for these events and network, but not necessarily networking for employment, but just to make those connections and friendships that I think are such a valuable part of integration and figuring your way and finding your way here, because it's not it's not always as easy.
And there's also just like not a one size fits all solution.
So true.
You need that sort of like back and forth that a community can provide.
Yeah. And some of the things that they cite, like members of city council have pointed out that they can do a better job with making people not just aware of what Aarhus has to offer, but helping with sort of the bureaucracy. We have spoken about how it can be really tough in that beginning period where it's like drinking out of a fire hose. You've got to get your NEM ID figured out, get a banking account set up, find a place to live, know if you can register your CPR there, get a CPR, get your job contract into the bank so you can open a bank account. But you can't have a job contract until you get your bank account that they can deposit your money. Like, it's all of these things that we were lucky. The three of us had some relocation services that help us when we first moved here, but not everybody has that.
Right.
I literally don't know how they
I think most don't have access to it that come.
So crazy.
I feel like a lot that we meet
God.
I think people don't even know to ask for that. So
Exactly.
if you're listening or watching this and you're planning to move here and you're negotiating all of the contract elements with your employer, make sure that you ask for a relocation.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of employers, especially Danish employers who haven't hired that many people from abroad, aren't aware of how much help you may need. There is a lot of bureaucracy.
Yes.
So
I'll say I
Great
haven't tried
advice.
that before.
yeah, it's just something that you don't always think of, but really goes a long
It's
way.
100% necessary.
But if they can provide some of that, and I think another thing that they mentioned is that you alluded to, Annie, is like the helping to figure out the childcare aspect, like letting you know how to register for school, how to get your kids set up, and from the is it Vuggestue, like the daycare, the childcare, all of that. Another thing that you mentioned, Annie, is like you almost need something for the Danes as well.
Yeah.
Of like, here's how you handle somebody speaking your language as a second language.
Right.
Here's how you can help people settle into a workplace that's Danish.
Right.
How you can keep it a Danish workplace, but embrace
1,000,000%.
internationals working with you.
I am 100% so happy to acclimate, integrate all of the things I think most people that move here are.
Yeah.
But it's just like we've said before, they don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
So how do we meet that? How do we do that? We're still figuring it out.
We need a meeting of the minds.
Exactly. 100%. It's going to take a lot of feedback on both sides.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the response is just, well, if you don't like it, leave. And sometimes it's like, well, no.
Wait a
Hold your
minute.
horses. It's okay.
Wait a minute.
I like it.
Yeah.
Like, we need these people here. We need these job skills here. But
Just give us some time.
give us some time.
And be patient.
Be patient. We're
And
not used to bringing our
my
own birthday
accent
cakes.
is not good.
My accent
yes,
is not
let
good.
me know that I need to bring my own cake
What
on my
I
birthday.
don't
Yes.
understand is
When do I get a cake?
when do I get a cake? What I don't understand is how can Swedish and Norwegian and Danish people all understand each other, but if I say like toe instead of toe or something, they're like, what language are you speaking?
Right.
I didn't catch that.
Right. There's some, you use the context, right? Am I
Context.
asking for a number of, a number of buns with cheese?
Yeah.
Or
They're like, what? You're talking about the toe on your feet? I'm so confused. The train is
The
that
train.
way.
You're like, well, I'm pointing at the train.
yeah.
So there's your first clue.
not like, what time does my toe get here?
Yeah.
You know, we're trying.
It's
We're
tough,
trying.
but we're used to that. We're
Yeah.
used to hearing accents on
Yeah.
American English or British English or
Have
Australian
you heard,
English.
sorry, I'm not done actually. Have you heard how different Swedish sounds than Danish? Because
Yes,
I can't
very
understand
much.
hardly a lick of it, you know? But they're like, yep, got it. 100% clocked.
Norwegian, though, I get. Like, I feel like I hear Norwegian, and I'm like, I'm with you.
Yeah. I don't even know if I could. I don't know if I
for
could
you.
actually differentiate Norwegian and Danish because I just can't even like recollect a time I've heard
I
somebody
somehow have a
speaking
lot of
Norwegian.
Norwegian friends. I don't know how.
Cute.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah. But when I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Similar.
now I get
that
it.
tracks.
You get it?
But Swedish, no. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I have a Norwegian friend who has Danish colleagues, and they went out, I think it was Julefrokost or something, they were all drinking together, and they decided that to make things easier, they would, the ones at the table, like, did know Norwegian, so they were like, oh, why don't we just speak Norwegian? And at the end of the night, like, the Danes admitted, like, wow, this was a lot easier speaking Norwegian, because it's written the same as Danish. It's
Is
just
it?
pronounced, basically, it's pronounced, I guess, almost phonetically. So it's pronounced
So it's not
in
an
a
issue
way.
with the pronunciation. What is it?
I don't know.
What is it? Let us know.
I don't know.
What are we
Yes.
doing wrong?
Has anybody had that experience? Definitely let us know, especially if you're a Norwegian, if you can help us. Maybe that's the secret. Learn Norwegian.
Okay, good idea.
Should we do
okay,
that?
that's a good idea.
My husband will love that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm not learning Danish anymore. I'm going to learn Norwegian.
Does he speak Norwegian? He's like, no, I don't need to because I just understand it.
Yeah, I don't know.
How?
I just can understand all of it.
Don't tell the Danes that we said this, by the way. Yeah.
Is that bad? Is that offensive?
I don't know. Maybe. That's it for our news so far. And hey, if you're listening for the first time, especially from Copenhagen Post, again, thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit follow wherever you listen to your podcast so that you can catch us next week or look for us in the post. And you guys will also add information in the show notes and the description so that you can find La Femme and hopefully connect with Briana and with Annie to go to one of these events if you're looking for some female companionship and making those connections. And that applies to you.
Yes. Perfect. Thanks so much for today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.